only 2 sessions, but we've learned so much already when it comes to the thoughts that Aliko Dangote and Dr. Obi have shared about how we can frame this conference in the right way. And I think one thing that we've already learned from all of the beautiful wisdoms they shared with us is that we need to be confident that we are able to build global companies that come out of Africa. Of course, starting at home, but with big ambitions to champion global economies. And we now want to look a bit at the other side. So we've talked about aspirations. Dangote Group is certainly an aspirational story, but we need to look at where we are today and how we can get to having a lot more groups like the Dangote Group coming from within the African continent. And this leads me over to the African Hidden Champions Initiative, which is an initiative that is attempting to identify businesses that have quietly already come a very long way and have the potential to really pivot into multinational corporations that can create jobs and become the backbone of African economies. I am now very excited to welcome 2 speakers that are going to talk a little bit more about the why behind the African Hidden Champions Initiative and also the how. What is it actually doing? So let me warmly welcome 2 power women, I would say. Firstly, we have Monica Beck from DEG, Managing Director from DEG. And then we also have Salma Okonkwo, who is the chairman, I think she sometimes writes, of UBI Group and Bluebridge Group, because she is a really, really accomplished businesswoman who takes a seat on a lot of boards. Monica and Salma, welcome to our conference. I would like to briefly introduce the 2 of you before we start our conversation. And I'm going to start with Monica Beck. You are a member of the management board at DEG, and I would like to say a few words about your background. Before you headed the KfW's compliance department in 2015, you were from 2004 to 2015, you were in several management positions at KfW Development Bank. Now, I think what many people don't know, if they're not as immersed into the German development finance institutions, is that there's KfW and there's DEG. KfW being the more governmental finance arm, while DEG is more of the corporates and funds-focused financing arm. But as of today, you're a member of the management board of DEG, and you've had a long career in development finance because KfW, where you previously worked, has been on your CV as long as dating back to 2001. I also saw that you took a bit of a stint into consumer goods, which I found exciting. You were in the fashion and cosmetics business for a while before you started this part of your career. And I think that's exciting because a lot of companies that seem to have a lot of scaling potential in Africa are actually in the consumer goods sector. So Monica, I would like to warmly welcome you and thank you for joining. Salma?
Thank you.
Salma is also here with us. Salma is calling in from Lagos, Nigeria. And Salma is an absolute powerhouse that we have come to get to know over the years because she has quietly built a number of businesses that have been really impactful, especially in Western Africa. Salma is the chairman of UBI Group, which is an energy trading business specializing in the procurement, storage, marketing, and distribution of petroleum products in West Africa, with a primary focus on Ghana, but not only. We also know that Salma landed a pretty important landmark deal for the West African energy industry a few years back in 2013 that she entered with Puma Energy, a Singaporean firm. But I think what's particularly important to say about Salma is that Salma has quietly built a lot of businesses that are tied into a group called Bluebridge Group, which has interests in sectors from professional services to energy, to retail, to consumer goods. And this business has been a main focus of her in addition to all the things she does in the energy sector. Salma is also someone who is big on social impact. When Salma started her business way back in order to start energy distribution, a big focus was to go to where other people weren't going, because she wanted to make sure that petroleum and energy is available to people in the north of Ghana, for instance, where at the time energy infrastructure was weak. And I know about Salma that this has been something that is a red thread through her career, to make decisions not only based on commercial value, but also on social value. Salma, a warm welcome to you. I hope I haven't said too much.
Thank you, Yasmin. Thank you.
So, Monica and Salma, we are here today to talk about African Hidden Champions. And I'm really keen to make sure that we can further understand together a little bit why African Hidden Champions and what African Hidden Champions is. And I would like to kick off the discussion by asking Monica a question. Monica, hidden champions are actually quite a signature term when it comes to the German economy. And as we just said, KfW and DEG are partners that work on behalf of Germany. And I think it would be really interesting to hear from you what the connotation of hidden champions is in the German context, so that we can understand a little bit how this term might also apply to the African context. So maybe you can kick us off.
Yeah, Yasmin, with pleasure. Let's start a bit with the definition of hidden champion in the German or European context. A hidden champion is a market leader on the global market with very low public visibility. Often even neighboring cities don't know that they have a hidden champion as neighbor. They offer unique products worldwide, niche products. And interestingly, we consider there are about 2,700 hidden champions worldwide, so medium-sized companies which have world market share. But interestingly, 50% of these 2,700 enterprises are located in Germany. So 50% of worldwide hidden champions are located in Germany. And I know one of our clients is a hidden champion, and it's quite typical. They are in the very remote area in the south of Germany, a village of 3,000 inhabitants, and they exist over 100 years, generation from generation, family driven, and 90% of the village is working for this company for over 100 years. And it looks so idyllic there, the small company, but they, in their specific area, make 80% of market share. And what they are doing is they produce now for 100 years small tubes, plastic tubes, steel tubes. They can be so small or they can be kilometers large. And they do this for traditional industries, but also for very innovative industries like electronic cars, aircrafts, but also for washing machines. Worldwide, 70% of all washing machines have these tubes, these plastic tubes, from this tiny little company in the south of Germany. And I found this really fascinating, how stable these enterprises are, how innovative they are, how important for job creation. And so I think it's a very well-chosen topic to think about hidden champions and create this platform. They are very important for Germany's employment generation, for innovation, for job creation. And yeah, they export a lot. They invest also abroad. And we have them also in Africa. A good example is maybe Dermalog. This is a company which is only 15 years old. So the reason why they are the market leader in development and distribution of biometrics systems. So face scanning or fingerprint scanning. And they are represented also from Germany in 90 countries worldwide, in 23 countries in Africa, in Nigeria. 20 leading banks are working with them, etc. So, and I think this is really an interesting topic. And again, congratulations, well chosen.
Thank you, Monica. This is such interesting context. And I didn't know that number, 2,700 hidden champions. That's a lot. And the beauty really is that they are doing this so quietly and starting to conquer the world without anybody knowing. And I thank you for giving us that context, because a big goal of this initiative really is to say that we need to recognize that we have such companies that are doing that already in Africa or are at the brink of doing so. And I think that Salma is a great person to come in here because Salma immediately told me when I mentioned this initiative to her that this is a term she can identify with. And I would like to invite Salma to talk a little bit about her story and how she sees the term hidden champions in the African context so that we hear your side of it a little bit.
Thank you, Yasmin. It's interesting, when Monica was speaking, I could identify with a lot of things that she was saying. And we do have such companies and champions, entrepreneurs in Africa. Unfortunately, we don't have the technical and financial support to be able to grow as much as we would want to. In the African context, for me, a hidden champion is one who thrives and is able to build a business that gives back to the community, employs from the community, even if it's as little as 50 people, amidst all the challenges. And we've heard about funding over and over, and one of our biggest challenges is funding. But there are also environmental issues that creates obstacles in our growth. Some are regulatory, some are cultural, things that are very particular to our environment. But if we have the regulations and the support to that our counterparts in the Western world, and for this matter in Germany have, I'm sure we would see more than 2,000 African champions in our continent. I can talk a bit about myself and what we have been able to achieve. Again, if we go back to when we started, of course we didn't get the funding. We were unknown. We didn't have the experience that they knew of, and to make it even worse, the interest rates would make our business not viable. We deal with double digits, and I mean really high double digits interest rates, where our counterparts in Europe don't. And they also get the support where the governments would provide funding for them. They also have structures, strong institutions that support their growth, and we don't. So when we're able to set up a business that hires the best hands, the best for technical capability for the business, and are able to grow. In our case, we started when there were only 2 of us, and within 5 years, we had a staff strength over 220. We actually imported some technical support. So we had employees that came from Germany, employees that were European and American, who came to support us to grow our businesses. So in a sense, for me, we have so many hidden champions in Africa who have been able to sail through and have at least 50 employees, are growing businesses that have a turnover of over $1 million a year. And that is a hidden champion for me. Yasmin.
Thank you, Salma. And I think that this is important what you're also mentioning, because I mean, in Germany, hidden champions are companies that often have a globally leading market share in something and have been around for hundreds of years. But to an extent, the goal of the initiative is also to identify the hidden champions that are in Africa right now and maybe in a bit of time from now would also be able to achieve that. So it's also about recognizing potential. But what I would like to know from you, Salma, before I switch back to Monica, is the visibility question. Now, you say that, yes, there are a lot of hidden champion companies in Africa, and they are actually quite successful, even though there are often very challenging circumstances that they have to engage with business-wise. But still, they are not always particularly known for the trailblazing successes they have achieved. And I would like to understand from you why African businesses like that sometimes stay under the radar, not sometimes, actually quite often, and are not known for what they've achieved to build a platform for them to grow and build more partnerships internationally. Where do you think is this coming from? Is it the entrepreneurs? Is it the environment? Why are they not known for what they are achieving?
Well, when you're struggling to survive, and when you're focused on growth, it is not very African, at least I can say it's not very Ghanaian to advertise what you're doing. Yeah. So most of these champions are focused on the growth and giving back and don't pay attention to the impact they can make when they become visible. Because obviously when they become visible, I'll use me. If I become visible, and when I became visible, there were other Ghanaian women and other women in the sub-region who recognized that, look, this industry is not just a boys' club because it's predominantly male-dominated, and it gives the encouragement and the visibility that it can be done. When you're able to tell your story, others pick from it. I mean, it's a learning curve. People learn, and then they don't make the mistakes you have made. So it is very necessary as we grow. But historically, we haven't done that because we're focused on the growth, and it's just not in our nature to expose ourselves so much and talk about what we're doing. I, for one, always believed that my work and my success would speak for itself. I didn't need to advertise. I didn't need to talk about it. But we're getting to a point when we need partners, when we need to grow, that we need to talk about what we've achieved and what we can do to give our partners some confidence to be willing to work with us.
Salma, thank you. That's so powerful. And knowing your story, I always keep telling you that I think that there are so many entrepreneurs, not even just women, but generally entrepreneurs, who could be so inspired by your story and what your businesses have achieved. And I think this was a very honest answer as well from your side, because you can, of course, always throw the ball back and forth. Well, they're not talking about me. Well, I don't have time. But at the end of the day, it's a question about how important it is on the priority ladder, and realizing early enough that it's important to build visibility of your success so that you can start buying other partners in. And I don't know if you listened to our session with Dr. Obi, but she was talking so much about making sure that we don't only focus on the individual success, but also about the alliance building. But for that, we need visibility. So I think this was a very powerful answer. And I know that we have some questions that have come in from the audience, but I'd like to ask one more question to Monica before we open up the Q&A. And the question to you, Monica, is fairly simple. It's just trying to understand why you joined our initiative, because obviously we've now tried to unravel a little bit what Hidden Champions is supposed to be as a term, and also why the initiative is needed when it comes to visibility creation. But it would be great to hear where DEG saw the opportunity and why you decided to bring in DEG as a partner. So over to you, Monica.
Yes, thank you. But maybe one comment to what Selma said, because I found it very, very interesting. And I think there is something in common for German hidden champions. They also, it's not in their nature to do advertising. They also focus very much on growth. And that's the reason why they are also not very visible, because they very much concentrate on their business. So there's a similarity. But I think in contrast to German hidden champions, African hidden champions have to be seen more. They need the visibility more. Why? Because in Germany, we have a good functioning financial sector, which offers long-term finance. In Africa, not. So you have to make your success visible in order to get good financing conditions. Second, in Germany, you have a rather good amount of well-trained employees. In Africa, you have to be visible in order that the good trained employees see you and work for you. In Germany, you have good access to the latest technologies, innovation. In Africa as well, but if you do it alone, it's very difficult. So you need a good network to have persons to discuss with, to move ahead jointly. So I think the visibility is in Africa even more important than it is in any other region of the world. And this, I think, is a good bridge to the question you asked, why DEG is engaged in this initiative and why we support this initiative so much, because we think that we can be a good partner on this path, because first of all, we provide long-term financing, but we all know financing is only one element, and it has to be combined with offering platforms for network and offering technical skills and know-how. And I think we also can contribute very much to this. We not only offer financing, long-term financing in form of equity and debt, but we also offer technical assistance in how to manage risk, how to manage working capital, how to manage environmental threats, etc., etc. And we provide platforms. We connect our clients. We connect you to our German business hidden champion community. So I think that we can really bring an asset on the table to help the hidden champions in Africa in these areas. And we very much believe in Africa. Already today, we are a global acting institutions. We are active in over 100 countries, but 25% of our portfolio already is Africa. So 25% of our investments are already in Africa. And we very much believe in this continent. It's a very young population, very ambitious, fast growing. There's a lot of space, a lot of natural resources, and people who are really ambitious in fighting mode to overcome the hurdles. And that's what we like. And that's also shown in the results, because many other banks tell us, why are you so engaged in Africa? It is risky. And when you look on the ratings, of course, it looks risky, but our own experience is that our default rates in Africa are the lowest worldwide. So we have less problems in Africa than in other regions. So we very much believe in the region, and that's why we like this platform.
This is so interesting. I didn't know that. That means we are actually hopefully your favorite continent to invest in, Monica. I think this is really exciting, and we are very grateful that DEG has decided to collaborate with us on this initiative. Before I show a few slides about the initiative so the audience gets a better sense of what it's going to do, I wanted to bring in one question that came in. And the question that came in is about the downside of visibility. So the question I just received is there a downside of having international visibility as an African hidden champion? Maybe Salma, you would like to take that.
There is a downside depending on the person. And again, I'll go back to myself. The downside for me is you tend to have all sorts tend to look for you and reach out to you and the attention for someone like me who's very private and just wants to do my work and no recognition, you get attention that you don't want. You also get, and again, I'm speaking about myself, you might get some attention from the tax authorities that is usually not necessary. And my experience with the tax authorities are when they come, no matter how well you have been paid your taxes, how compliant you are, they seem to always find something. Again, that is my view. I just like to stay under the radar. So that's downside, but compared to the upside, it's more beneficial to be visible.
Yeah, maybe to add to this, I have been also on the board of a bank in Congo, DRC, for 6 years, and there I have seen also the downside, I must say, because when people see you earn good money as a bank or corporate, in particular, and that I've seen often in Africa, there's a lot of jealousness and envy, and other people want to participate in your success. And so people, it's understandable that they try to remain hidden. But I would fully agree with Salma. I think if we want to change Africa in a positive sense, with good companies, sustainable, focusing on environment, treating gender equally, etc. I think the price of kept hidden is so big. Really needs these success stories in order to convince others. And but I'm fully aware, also to be honest with you, there is a certain price because there's still this culture of jealousness sometimes. But this we have to overcome jointly.
Thank you, Salma and Monica. I think this was a very honest and interesting talk. I would like to briefly show a few slides before we have our next session talking about more hidden champions and hearing more stories in order to introduce the initiative a little bit. So, dear audience, you will now see a PowerPoint presentation that is outlining the African Hidden Champions Initiative. And the big goal of this initiative in a nutshell really is to showcase and celebrate the unique stories of African businesses, hopefully without putting them in front of a lot of extra compliance, but rather to really build a platform that documents their growth and brings them together. Now, when we are talking about the type of businesses, it's really about finding all these businesses on what is a huge continent, if we look at that picture here, who are fast growing, are conquering their home markets, are maybe already starting to expand outside, and are actually the backbone of what Africa's economic success has been, because we have had some economic success. So in terms of criteria, Salma, I know you said 1 million, but we are actually going a little higher. We are looking for businesses with at least $20 million of revenue in their last business year, and that have also been on operation for a few years, because it's really about finding those that are ready to pivot to the next level of growth, getting closer to becoming the next Dangote Group, so to say, and also have an economically sustainable business model. We have certain sectors we're interested in: agri, manufacturing, services. There are some businesses we can't look at because DEG has an exclusion list, and rightly so. So sectors we can't look at include things like hard liquor or weapons. I was very amused to read that beer is not on the exclusion list. It's only hard liquor, Monica. And then there's also the growth opportunities. So is there really a strong product market fit? Do they have a size opportunity for expansion? And do they pursue a path of innovation and or industrialization? We are looking for businesses that would be part of this initiative. We are going to publish 2 case studies per quarter about companies that are part of this initiative and got selected. And the nomination process is simple. DEG and AFG are putting companies forward, but there's also an online nomination form that you can find on the website of the initiative. in order to propose companies that you think should be part. And the URL, I'm just going to switch to that now, is here, africanhiddenchampions.com. So please have a look at it if you want to learn more. Monica, Salma, thank you so much for being part of this discussion. I appreciate your time, and I'm excited about further building the narrative of African Hidden Champions with you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Thank you, Yasmin. I wanted to add that African Foresight seems also to be a hidden champion so far, because I didn't know you before. Really delighted to have established this network with you. So thanks again.
Thank you so much, Monica. Yes, we also have to work on our visibility. So hopefully we can do that as part of this initiative. Salma, thank you also for sharing your honest story. And we look forward to engaging with both of you further on this journey.
I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Yasmin. Bye-bye. Look forward to it. Bye.
All right.